Hi guys, and welcome to this Model Engineers workshop. Today in the workshop, we're going to be making the drive blocks for the slide valves. Come on, I'll show you what we're going to do. Hi guys, I'm the chef. Today we're going to make the two little drive blocks, one for each slide valve that goes on top of the cylinder blocks and allows the steam to go to the front and the back of the bore itself, the cylinder bore, that drives the piston, that drives the whole locomotive along the tracks. I've got the stuff on the bench. Come on, I'll talk you through it. Righto guys, so here we are on the bench. This is, I believe this to be a chunk of bronze. Nice big heavy piece, but never mind. I've just cleaned up both ends of this, so now those are now nice and parallel. We'll get this in the mill vise, and we're going to take a slot through the middle. I've got the 12mm slot drill, and on the top of that we're going to create two lands, 12mm wide. We're then going to take the size down to the right length and the right width. Okay, so we actually need 2 bits 12mm square in section and 35 long. This is 52 square by 52, of course. So we've got a fair amount of machining to do. We then also have to drill and ream 4 holes in, so 2 in each land. So there's a 5.8 drill, 6mm reamer, and a small little center drill to get us started. And when we get those 4 holes drilled, we're going to turn it over. We've got some drilling and tapping to do for a couple of little grub screws, and then we're going to do the same going the other way. Once we get all the holes in, rip those 2 bits off with the hacksaw, and then we've just got the then freshly cut surfaces to machine to get down to 12 by 12 square. The drawings say bronze or stainless. I don't have 12 by 12 square bronze or stainless, so this piece will do. God knows where it came from, but there's a bit of bloody weight in that, I'll tell you. Right, I didn't film the cleaning off. You've seen me do that. So I'll get this back in the vise on the mill over there, and use the edge finder to find the edges, set the DRO to find the middle, and we're just going to come straight through the middle, backwards and forwards to a depth of about 15, so the 12 plus a bit for cutting off. Right, I'll get this in the vise and I'll bring you back. Righto guys, so blocks back in the mill vise, just gently touched off. I'm going to put the cut on, probably take 1/2 mil being bronze. Got to be a little bit careful with bronze and brass and things like that, because it can be a little bit grabby. We'll see how this cuts. It seemed to cut fairly nicely when I was doing the cleaning up of the surfaces. And going to move the work backwards and forwards that way till I get to a depth of 15. I'll only show you a couple of cuts, and then I'll bring it back after that. But so here's some real-time machining. So let's get the machine running. It'll get as noisy as always, and I'll get this slot put in. Okay, see you in a bit. Now that's cutting beautifully. That was 2 cuts at 0.5. I'm going to try a 1mm cut. Let's see how we go at that. Here goes. There we go. That's 5mm done already. All right, I'll get this to 15 and I'll bring you back. See you in a bit. Okay, so there we are. There's the slot in. You can just see it here. Got brave when I was taking 2mm cuts. It was cutting like it was literally hot knife through butter. Nice slot in there, easy peasy. So now I've moved the cutter over 24mm because of course I've got to allow 12 to remain, plus 6 from that center line and 6 to this center line, so 24. Again, I'm going to come down, going cuts down to 24. I'm going to do one cut across. Yep, and then I'm just going to try the valve, the slide valve on that, just to make sure it's right, because at this point in time I can still easily adjust. It's not going to make a hoot on the actual working of the piece. So I'll take the one cut and then I'll bring it back and we'll try on the slide, one of the slide valves, see if it's the right width. All right, here we go, guys. Going to get noisy. Now, that's a 1/2mm cut. Should be deep enough for us to try it. Now, of course, I've got one of the slide valves here. This block goes in this middle slot here. So we should be able to try it between these pegs that you, where is it there? These pegs. I just drop that on there. Oh, that is lovely. Right, that's a good fit. As you can see, it's got just a little bit of float in there. There's not a great deal. Super. Right, so I'll get this machine down to 15, get the other side done as well. You don't need to see that. And then we'll start getting these blocks, these 2 pegs to length. All right, see you in a bit, guys. Right, so there we go. That's those both down. These are both now good fitting these slide valves. Everything's down at 15 deep. So now we've just got to clean off that back surface. And then, of course, we can set the DRO in the Y direction. Of course, this is X. That's Y. X is already centered on that slot, so that's great. We can use that for our dimensions when we start doing holes. And so now I'm going to clean off that back face, and then set the D arrow to 0. Then from there we can do our required length, 35 I think it is. I'll double check the drawings, of course. We get these blocks then down to 35, and then we've got 2 holes to drill and ream in each. So I'll bring you back when I get these done, the DRO set, and we're ready to drill the holes. All right, guys, I'll see you in a bit. Righto, guys, so everything's cleaned off. As you can see, put another cut through here. So these blocks are now 35 long, they're 12 wide, they're 15 tall, which we know is too big, but that's why we did it this way. So I've now got to put 2 holes in each, slightly off-centered. They're going to be the same. They're not going to be mirrored. They're going to be literally the same. So they're going to be they're a little bit off-center. They're about a mil off-center on both of these. Don't know if you can just see in the shadow of my finger there, you can see there's a little dot, and there's another little dot here. I've just run the center drill down to make a mark, and I've just double checked the calculations and everything. Got the trusty little piece of paper by the hand. So what's going to happen is we're going to center drill, change out, go to a 5mm drill, go down 15, maybe 16, we'll see. 15 would be better because that way it leaves a bit more material back here. And then we're going to go to the 5.8. I'm going with the 5 first because I don't want the 5.8 to wander too much, because of course after the 5.8 we're going to ream all the way down 6mm. Right, so let's get one of these put in, and I'll bring you back after I've done that. All right, here goes the machine, gonna get noisy. Now we'll just set the depth for the drilling. That's about it there. We need to go 15, so I'll just set the depth stop. There we go. There we go, 15. Gonna have to lower the table a bit more. Are you able to still see that, guys? Yes, you are. Right, let's get this tightened up. A bit more, maybe. There we go. Just a bit more. There we are. Right. Do the paper trick again. For this operation, this will be more than fine. There we go. Let's just, again, the drill's a different length. We've just altered things. So reset the depth gauge. The depth stop. Right, here goes. There we are, bottom of the hole. Now, Take that out. In goes the 6mm reamer. I will of course be dropping the speed quite dramatically on this. Drop the machine into low gear. Let's have it just a little bit faster than that. So this is going to be about 90 RPM, 100. And we'll just quietly peck at this till we hit the bottom. Cleaning the flutes as we go. I believe that is bottom. Yep, that's bottom. There we go. Lovely. That hole looks nice and shiny inside. The reamer was taken off just enough. Right, 1, 2, 3 more to go, and I'll bring you back. All right, see you in a bit, guys. Righto, guys, there we go. There's the 4 holes all put in and reamed 6mm. So what I've got to do now is I've got to just loosen the vise, roll this towards you, so towards the camera. And then in this hole, these 2 holes, so this one first, we need to then drill and tap 2 M4 holes, 4mm thread holes. We're then going to hacksaw this one off, and then we're going to put everything back in the vise and use the edge finder, get to where we need to be. You know this distance, that's fine. So it's just a case of locating backwards and forwards, and then put the next 4 in. So I'll get this reset and I'll show you what we're going to be doing next. All right, give me a couple of minutes, guys. Back in a tick. Righto, guys, so as you can see, rolled the block over, so keeping the same reference face, so all our dimensions from the fixture stay the same. So we're above this hole. Can you see what I'm pointing to? Yes, you can. Good. Right, so we've got a drill, center drill. Go then with a 3.3mm drill, because of course 4mm thread is 4 by 0.07. So we're gonna center drill through till we break through. We're not going all the way through, just one side. Though I don't think it would make much difference if you did go all the way through. These are just grub screws that will hold this block onto the valve rod. Valve rod, yes, the valve rod. Just so that we can loosen them both, adjust the position of the valve on the valve rod for when we're setting the valves. All right, guys, so let's get one of these done, and then I'll get the second one in, and I'll bring you back after that. So here goes. So that's the center drill. Slow that down a little bit. There we go. A bit more. That's better. That's it, we've broken through. Turn that off so I can see what we're doing. Put the 4mm tap in. Tighten that up. Go into the low speed gearbox, and we'll get this tapped. That should see it. Oh, another couple of turns maybe. Lovely, that'll do us. Right, let's see if I can reverse that out a bit. I can. And stop at that. let's just drive that up. There we go. Right. Oh, it's a nice looking thread in there. Right, I'll get the next one in and I'll bring it back. See you in a bit. Righto guys, there we go. A little bit of a cruel magnification, but the two M4s are in. What's to do now? I've got to hacksaw this one off and have a look, see if I can zoom you out. There we go. Then I've got to put the two holes in here. The mistake I made was I didn't actually think this through properly. If I'd done the spacing, instead of making them side by side, if I had actually mirrored them, I'd have been able just to turn the block over and put the two grub screws in before I hacksaw the lot off. As it is now, I'm going to have to hacksaw this one off and then put it back in the mill vise and do this one in a little while. Right, so when I get this one cut off, that one with its M4 grub screws in, and this one cut off, I'll bring you back. Ugh. I really don't like hacksawing, but never mind. It's bronze. It's not going to take too long. All right, guys. I'll see you in a bit. Okay. Righto, guys. There we go. That's these two done as far as I can at the moment. As you can see, there's the hacksawed faces. So these are now just going to run a quick deburr across them, take out the little grub screws, and get them back in the vise and get these down to a nice, easy fit. Here's one of the slide valves. In that slot there, you can see I've still got a reasonable amount to take off. And of course, that one goes in here, this one goes in there. Where's the grub screws? There they are. And then we have to make two little support bars to go in here. So I'll get these in the mill and machined off, and I'll bring you back when they fit in there. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Righto, guys, so as you can see now, I've machined off the excess material. These now fit nicely in here, so they'll be fine. And of course, it's these that drive the valves backwards and forwards. This is the material we're going to be using for the valve rod, so you can imagine that goes. Get that to go in there for me. Come on. Oh, of course, I've got the grub screw wound down. It won't go in. But it also goes in here as a little kind of, I don't know, something to secure it. We need 2 bits at 38. Now the drawings say ream the whole 1/4 inch. Well, actually, I've reamed 6mm, and this is 6mm stainless. And it says tight press fit. Nowhere close. Right, so I've got to make these two little cross rods, which are 38mm long, and just rounded off. They're just chamfered off at the ends, which I'll do on the lathe in a second. And then I'm going to have to put these back in the mill, and I'm either going to drill and tap, or I'm going to cross drill and put a pin in. Which would be the best? Don't know. I'm probably going to put a grub screw in there, and we can really crank that down, or maybe even make a dimple into the stainless as we go along, and that way the last grub screw will actually stop it actually rotating and moving or anything. I'll do that. I'll put a dimple in. When I'll put this into here, I'll probably Loctite it in, and then I can drill and dimple ready for the grub screw. That's what I'll do. That sounds like a plan. Right. So I've got to get this into the lathe, 2 bits 38 long, chamfer on the ends, all nice and clean and tidy. And when I get that done, I'll get them Loctited in, and 2 more grub screws, 1 in each. As I say, I'll drill a bit of the way into the 6mm stainless. It's not doing any load. It's just basically to stop this floating that backwards and forwards as far as I can tell. Although these are a pretty good fit in the valve chests. There is only just the slightest bit of freedom, so there's enough room for a bit of oil, really. And so when this is cut, 2 bits at 38, nice chamfers on both ends, and in here, and a grub screw to hold them in place. I'll bring you back. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Righto, guys, there we go. As you can see, they're in place now. Grub screws are into a good solid dimple into this piece of stainless in each one. So they're not going to come loose unless I want them to. Right, so There we go. Another couple of pieces done. Liking the look of that. So of course this is where the valve rod goes through, driven by the valve gear of course, and then this just slides backwards and forwards over the valve port face on the cylinders. Alright guys, give me a second, I'll reset and we'll bring this video to a close for today. Alright, hang on. Righto guys, there we go. Two vitally important bits. Almost the most important I suppose, because these are what drive the valves. Yes, I'm very happy with those. Okay guys, that's the video for today, so I'll bring this video to a close like I normally do. If you can find it in your heart and soul, give me a like and a subscribe. That would be absolutely great. If you're a watcher and you've got this far, please consider the likes and subscribes. The likes are the most important. They put these videos of mine in front of other like-minded people like you and I. All right, guys, this is Chef saying, see you later.